I have TikTok in a frenzy, and I wanted to bring this conversation to YouTube really quick. So I made a quick video. I'm going to insert it in here. Fortunately for me, there's no way a man can string me along for longer than a year without some sort of commitment. And by commitment, I mean ring. We're not in high school no more. I'm not going to be your boyfriend or girlfriend for years, umpteen years. Like, we're not even doing that. Like, you're wasting my time. I feel like after 25, life gets very serious. And so if you can't show commitment within like a few months to a year, then well, you gotta go. You're wasting my time where I could be meeting the next man that will show me commitment, right? Okay, so you see what I said, right? So I was talking about how if you are intentional about marriage, then you should not be strung along by men. That's the underlying, message of the video, right? But most people heard me say 1 year, ring, commitment, and they lost their minds in the comments. And I was just like, how are y'all not understanding what I'm saying? What I'm saying, and I don't necessarily mean verbatim 1 year, but like, I feel like a year is a long time. A year is 365 days. A year is 52 weeks, 12 months. That's a long time, okay? In a year, you can change your life. In a year, you can have a baby. In a year, you can lose 200, 150 pounds. In a year, you can look completely different. In a year, you can level up. A year is a long time, right? So what I was saying essentially is that when you are dating and when you are actively out there, putting yourself out there for marriage, you should be so intentional that when someone tries to waste your time, you should be able to clock that and identify it, right? You should be able by the third or fourth day. I'm not even gonna put numbers on it because I see y'all losing y'all mind, child, on the numbers. So let's just take the numbers out of it. By the first date, you can tell a man's intentions of what he has for you by the questions that he asks. Play with somebody else if you don't understand what I'm saying. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, you're probably too young or you're probably just not paying attention, or a man is not taking you seriously, right? If I go on a date and you're asking me, we're talking about, random topics. You ask me about what I think about the Diddy trial and Young Thug trial, and you're asking me about football and, all this stuff. We're not having real conversation. But if you ask me, so what are you looking for in a man? What makes you happy, right? What are your 5-year goals? What is your 10-year plan? Where do you see yourself? How many kids do you want? Would you be opposed to your partner not wanting kids? Questions like that can, really delve into a person and who they are. That is being intentional. And most people were in my comments saying stuff like, well, hold on real quick. Sorry, y'all. And most people were in my comments saying, well, you can never know someone in a year and you never truly know someone. True. You never truly know someone. So then what is the purpose of marriage if you truly know someone, right? I can get to know someone in a year because I ask questions. I'm very intentional about my questions. I pay attention to people. I not only ask questions about them, I ask about their family and I ask about their friends, right? I want to know backstories on certain things because I can assess your character based off of your stories that you're telling me, right? And that's granted if you're telling the truth. Hopefully, most of the time you have to ask it in a way to where they have no other option to tell you the truth, right? People were losing their minds in my TikTok comments. Y'all can go watch it. I'll put the link in the bio down here in the description. But it was crazy. I was just like, let's all relax. Let's take a deep breath. But most people don't go into dating intentional, right? Most people also, they get so clogged up in their mind, like they have no idea what it takes to be intentional in dating, right? Most of people be like, oh, they're attractive, I'm attractive. They're single, I'm single. Let's come together. And then they issue in sex and they issue in moving in together, they issue in dates and all this other stuff, things that don't matter. That's why a lot of people, their brains are convoluted with lustful thoughts and things like that because they've added in things to the equation that do not get you to the finish line, right? Sex does not help you be marriage intentional. It does not. It actually slows the process down a little bit. Now, it is very normal for sure, but it does kind of mess up the trajectory of everything, right? Stay with me. And most people don't understand that after a certain age, I'm gonna say after 25. After 25, a woman should be more intentional about who she is dating, who she is giving her time to, who she is giving her body to, right? After 25, can you imagine having, you want to be married? Let's say you want to be married. If you don't want to be married, this message isn't for you. I'm not talking to you, right? Has nothing to do with you. But if you are 25, you know for a fact you want to be married. You're 25 and older, want to be married. You need to be dating men that are looking for a wife, not men who are looking to date. There's a difference. A man who was actively looking for a wife, a man who was looking to be married. Not when you ask him, hey, do you want to get married? Well, you know, it's something I can do. You know, I want to get married one day. Ooh, ding, 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 red flag, red flag. That man is not looking for a wife. And that is why so many of the men in my comments were saying, oh, you're rushing things. No one is rushing anything. It's called boundaries, and it's called not being strung along for years. I hate when I talk to women and they're like, oh yeah, I was with this man for 6-7 years and nothing come of it. We broke up. Grown people too. You're in your 30s and you were with a man for 6 years and you want to get married? And now you're single and you're almost 40 and you're having to start all over. You're playing the game wrong. And all I'm trying to do is help women out. Women should be vetting men from the beginning. The first date, if he has any red flags, you need to not ignore them. Most women will ignore them, and that's the problem. Stop ignoring red flags. Child, listen, y'all are ignoring the red flags and y'all aren't asking serious questions, and that is why you find yourself coming out of a situationship with a baby. You find yourself 4 or 5 years down the road and you having to like really ask him like, hey babe, when are you gonna get married? You're trying to put it in his mind. He ain't even, it's at the back of his mind, right? By a year in, he should already be marriage minded, because you shouldn't be giving it to him on the regular. You need to make him want something. By the time you get to marriage, that should be, you should be asking something of him, right? Listen, man's finances not in order. You need to make sure his finances in order. That's something you ask on the first or second date. And I'm not asking, I wouldn't, well, for me personally, I'm not going to ask a man, you know, how much he makes. I feel like that's just not my type of question. But I will ask him like, okay, so like, where do you see yourself? You know, do you have a stable job? Is your income stable? What industry are you in? I will gauge those type of questions. And it's not because I'm looking for a certain amount of money, whatever. I only go out with men who present themselves well, so I know that they have, excuse me, I know that they have some type of money. But most women just, I don't know, they don't play the game correctly. And let me tell you something, sisters, and I'm looking you dead in your eye, the men are always playing the game. Before he even asks you out, that man has already assessed you. He has already done his research on you. Don't let these men fool you. They do their research. The questions that he asks you leading up to the date, when he goes and picks you up, you're already being interviewed and you don't even know it. You better be careful with what you share. You better be careful what you say. But the problem is women aren't making men ask them for they're not making them give them a ring. And the ring is only symbolic of marriage, a union. I don't care about a wedding. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? I care about this symbolic symbol on my hand, on my left finger, that is going to signify a union, a partnership. And why would a man have to marry me if I already give myself to him every single day? Why would a man have to marry me if I've already given him kids? I've already given him a lifeline, a legacy. Why would a man have to marry me if I've already moved into his apartment? You're playing the game wrong. You are playing the game wrong. And I'm not a dating coach. I'm not. But I'm real. I'm just a realist. Like I'm being very real. And I don't have to go through traumatic relationships and the trauma that I've seen others people go, because I've already seen people's story unfold. I'm not gonna say it never works out, but it's slim pickings when you give a man marriage benefits before you get into the union. It's very slim pickings. It's very slim that it works out perfectly in that marriage. You have to make that man earn something when you get this. You have to make him earn something. If you've already earned all of the benefits of marriage before he gets a union, why the hell would he marry you? Think about it. Like, it makes perfect sense. Even the Bible says that you're supposed to wait in the sense that you're supposed to wait. If that man has already had you, you've already given him children, what exactly does he have to look for? Why would he have to marry you? That's why people are in the comments like, oh, you're rushing things like that. That's why divorce is so high, because people have already gotten all of you. And then you get in a marriage, you're like, yeah, I'm sick of this. I've already had it. It's nothing special about marriage. Now I'm really tied to this person and I can't really get out. That's why the divorce rate is so high. And also a mixture of not vetting people properly. But if you go into the relationship and you properly vet the husband, vet the man, and this is vice versa too, but if you properly vet that man, ask the questions that needs to be had, and the first red flag or the first thing that doesn't align with what you see for yourself, for your husband, you need to cut it off. It's simple. Most people ignore the red flags from the beginning. That's their problem. That is the problem. Most people, and I've done it too. Don't let me exclude myself. I have ignored red flags and they always come back to bite you. Always. Even if you think it's the smallest thing, it will come back and bite you and haunt you. But now that I am 27 years old, I have learned how to date. I have learned how to ask questions. People always ask me like, I can't believe you're single. I can't believe you're single. I can. And I'm not saying I'm asking for the perfect man, because I'm not. I know no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. But there are certain things I just don't go for. But it's hard to not go for things when everybody else in your generation is, right? Even though if a man's truly for me, I know he'll overlook that. But it's so hard to go for certain things and set certain standards when there are men out there who other women are going to do it, you know? And it's slim pick. It's also slim pickings because we're outnumbered. Like, they're outnumbered. Okay, there's like 20-1 men out there, right? And we're not even accounting for, they might not be heterosexual, all these other requirements. I would prefer not to date a man with kids, things like that. So, you start adding on those different levels, child, it's slim pickings, right? Women have got to be more stern and strict when it comes to dating and being so intentional. And it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do that it affects situations in your dealings later on, right? When I choose a husband, I'm not just choosing my man. I am choosing my man, and he gonna be fine or whatever. But these are my kids' father. This is somebody's future grandfather that I'm choosing, right? This is a man that is going to live on. I have to make sure that I am being protected in the womb. I have to make sure that my womb is being protected in the making, right? I don't want to give a bum any legacy. Listen, I'm not giving no man that's a bum a legacy. I'm not giving no man that's a horrible man, a distasteful man, a legacy. You have to think beyond yourself and beyond what you like, right? Because you might not be able to marry what you like. What you like might not be long term. That's okay, sister. You're gonna have to get it through your head and then make certain adjustments. But you need to be so mindful of the man that you choose and you pick, because yes, men have access to the question. They have access to initiating the marriage and the bond, but you choose. You choose whether or not you want to give that man the time of the day. You choose whether or not you want to give that man your womb. You choose whether or not you want to even be in partnership with that man, right? We have a lot of choosing, and women these days, I feel like a lot of women these days are acting as if we don't do the choosing. You chose, and you also choose not to see that man for who he is. You also chose to look over those red flags. You also chose to see potential instead of what is in front of you. We do a lot of choosing. It's just women don't really want to take accountability for what they're choosing out there. But I digress. A year is long enough to get to know someone. A year, if you are very intentional about marriage and you know that you want to get married, you should be dating men that want to get married, that are intentional as well. Those men are not going to string you along for 5, 6, 7 years. That's unacceptable, especially if you know you want to get married and you're dating people that want to get married. That man is not going to keep you on the market for 7 years. Because that's more than enough time for somebody else to have access to you. A man that really wants you is going to take you off the marketplace because he doesn't want anybody else to have you. And that's how you know he's being serious. That's how you know a man loves you and likes you, is because he wouldn't want anybody else to have access to you. So he's going to signify that union by putting that ring on that finger. I digress. Y'all have a good day. Good luck in your dating unions. And to anybody getting married or anything of the such, God bless your union. Yeah. Let's do better, sisters.